So, Julie, I just want to explore the fraction idea a little bit further, because I noticed you have fraction cards, and we'll just bring that up on the screen so that people can see. And you and I have chatted about the fact that you obviously introduced them in a certain order, and it's pretty clear that you've grouped them. Like in this case here, we've got the unit fractions where the numerator is 1. So would you just like to explain when you bring fractions in and how you would introduce the various sets of cards?
Okay, well, when I'm teaching Numero, my focus is on that progressive learning. And as I said, I say it all the time, it really is about the ability of the child. So if I've got a child who's using times and divide by 2, not ready for the 5 or the 4, 3 times table yet, but they're comfortable with 2s, you could actually throw the half in immediately. Because if you ask a child what is half of 10, they'll tell you it's 5. It's an instant recall for them. And then I sit and explain to them that as long as the numerator is a 1, it's really just dividing by the bottom number. So they start to look at a half and say, well, okay, it's a 1, I'm just dividing by 2. So they're creating that initial understanding of how a fraction works, so that they're not coming out with a number bigger than the number they start with, because they're not doing it around a different way. So if they are using a divide by 2, then I'll tell them they can use a half. And they often get excited about that idea too. And same thing, once they're using the divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5, then those 4 fractions are the first 4 that I'll put in a pack, because it's just reinforcing. It's also when they start understanding the inverse relationships. You know, times 5 is the opposite of divide 5. Well, times 5 is also the opposite of a fifth. So they're starting to get those connections as well. Once they're comfortable with those, then we can look at the 1/8 and the 1/10, because they're still just really a division card.
Okay, and then I can start to see here that you then, I see how you've grouped that. I can see you've gone to some where the numerator is not 1, but you've gone to the common ones like thirds and fourths, obviously.
So we've got a third, so then we'll develop it with the 2/3. We've got a quarter, so we'll progress with the 3/4. Obviously, we don't use a 2/4 because it is the same as a half, so we don't want to double up on them. A fifth, we'll jump into 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. Okay. We haven't done it with the 8ths and the 10ths. It's not necessary at this point. And these are the most common fractions that will be used in day-to-day life as well. This is actually good because they're life skills as well. From there, then we'll go on to the mixed numerals. But the biggest thing is, and I can't stress it to people enough, is be led by your student.
Okay.
All right. When they're ready, you'll know. And the rule of thumb is give them the wildcards they're comfortable with, and then 2 to challenge them.
Okay.
When they get comfortable with those 2, throw another 2 in, so that you don't do it all in one hit and overwhelm them.
Well, it's interesting because I've been looking at the research on games, and one of the issues can be once you get very comfortable with the game, you can potentially get bored. So you just got to, you're right, you just got to pitch that next level
Drip
of challenge.
feed.
Without going too hard so that we all give up. And that's a pretty neat idea. So I can see you've got the full set of cards there, and you just progressively add more as they're ready. So
absolutely.
Good tip there, Julie. I appreciate that one. That's a good one.